Good afternoon, everyone. We are from the Intangible. The COVID-19 has a different impact between Top Growth and Shangri-La in terms of revenues. Top Growth as a healthcare equipment sector has a positive impact from the pandemic due to the tremendous global demand for healthcare equipment required by the local and international consumers. According to the Malaysian Rubber Glove Manufacturers Association, the global shortage of rubber glove will last beyond the first quarter of 2022 as new norms due to the COVID-19 are expected to stay and sustain current elevated demand. Referring to their estimation, the global supply of rubber glove is projected to reach 420 billion pieces in 2021. The other rubber glove manufacturers also have been recorded super high profit in this unprecedented time, and the momentum is likely to continue till at least the end of 2021 since the third wave of the outbreak had started to begin. Hong Leong Investment Bank research estimates that the total production capacity for the Big Four glove players will increase to 212 billion pieces in 2021 and a further to 225 billion pieces in 2022.
While for the hospital industry, Shangri-La has the negative impact from the pandemic due to the lockdown measure implemented by the governments around the world, along with a nationwide movement control order (MCO) implemented by the local government, where a government have announced to stay home and maintaining social distance, which result in the closure of cities and states until these COVID-19 cases are deadline or under control. In addition, the government also imposed restrictions on inbound and outbound travel, which lead to a decline in demand for holidays and business travel. This action is aimed to break the COVID-19 pandemic network. But since international travel was almost stopped and domestic travel was restricted, it affected Shangri-La performance. Okay, let's see the graph. According to the financial performance in the annual report as at 31 December 2020, Shangri-La Group revenue declined 67% from RM 524.019 million to RM 172.092 million due to a significant decline in revenue contribution from all Shangri-La hotel divisions. This is because Shangri-La has to witness many hotel booking cancellations resulting in millions in losses and revenue decline sharply. This restriction quietly destroyed the hotel industry during the outbreak.
So the second difference is about the employment opportunities that provided by these two companies. The continuous increase of glove demand during the pandemic has led Top Glove to expand its production capacity and develop new production lines as to meet the exceptional buying trend of customers locally and internationally. So in this situation, Top Glove provided over 9,000 employment opportunities to cover the shortage of workers and to meet the global demand. While Shangri-La, whose business is getting worse, coupled with the public health and safe distancing measures, has made the hotels are having difficulties in their operation. So Shangri-La has decided to reduce its workforce by offering voluntary separation scheme and retrenchment to save costs and cut their losses. For the similarity impact from the pandemic, the employees of both companies have been tested positive during the outbreak. So many of its factories of Top Glove have been forced to stop production temporarily for disinfections and undergo screening purposes. This has caused supply disruption in Top Glove, where it led to some shortage of glove because it only can operate with low capacity during the particular period. Although there is only a small number of workers in Shangri-La that infected, it was also required to stop its operation temporarily for the purpose of testing all the employees. In this case, Shangri-La has to close all the bookings to avoid the spread of virus among the employee and customers.
The COVID-19 pandemic had made the largest behavior change method in the history of humanity. It is to be sure that the people will quickly flock back to restaurants, vacations, and graduations once the entire population is vaccinated. With the habits such as wearing gloves and masks in the public place cultivated during the pandemic and increased hygiene awareness to better prevent a future pandemic. According to the MARGMA president, the demand for growth will still increase more than pre-pandemic rates, with an estimated annual growth of between 12% to 15%, compared with a yearly increase of 8% to 10% pre-pandemic levels. Some investors will argue that the growth demand will decrease when the vaccine is found, but growth will still be needed for testing and administering the vaccine. While post-pandemic, even the growth demand will stabilize, but it will not revert to the pre-pandemic levels. Overall, Topgrow also estimates that the growth demand will increase by 25% in 2021 and 15% year-on-year post-pandemic. Hence, the company has a good reason to believe that there is more upside and looks robust for the growth industry.
Okay, I'm Sharida Azuna. We continue with question number 5. Firstly, we look at what will happen to the countries and globally if the pandemic ends. So, with the ending of the pandemic, we assume that all countries in the world and mostly the affected one will return to normal. But indeed, with a new normal, as we believe that due to this pandemic, many are affected and also traumatized. Thus, with this new normal, is a way for them to be careful and aware with any possibility. The operations and all affairs of a country or even Malaysia will be able to run as usual. And if you can say that the economic sector is the most focused sector as it is badly affected. Thus, with pandemic ending, it will slowly recover and running smoothly. Will Shangri-La be able to return and achieve their business target? We assume that there is possible positive impact when the pandemic is over, since the border of the countries will be opened back, which to facilitate the state-related or even non-state-related affairs. Furthermore, this will increase the number of tourists from all around the world to visit Malaysia, as we know that Malaysia is one of the focus places for holiday. Thus, there might be no fierce competitions will occur among the competitors in the same industry. Even though for the past 2 years, the analysis ratio of Shangri-La shows an unfavorable ratio, but with pandemic ending, they can turn the table on and improve as well as maintain the business. So here is just the news that show the performance of Shangri-La due to the COVID-19. And Shangri-La will be able to gain a great revenue and produce a good financial performance as long as they can implement the SOP and keep hygiene even if the pandemic is over.
So here we suggest a solution to Top Glove in improving its position and performance. In order to become more competitive, Top Glove should invest in new automation and digitalization in their operation and factories. With this, Top Glove can increase its efficiency on the production capabilities to meet the global demand by using technology to automate its production lines as well as reduce their required labor force. As a result, it will reduce the production costs such as labor wages and gain more profit margin on market shares because of the improvement of product quality compared to the competitors. At the same time, it also needs to upgrade its security system. This is because the automation and digitalization will increase the complexity of integrating the production in factories, and this may vulnerable to security breaches to facilities resulting from the cyber attacks. So, Top Glove should always carefully identify and address any potential cyber threats, as it will not only cause disruption to the operational system, but may also affect the company's reputation and financial performance.
Exactly the opposite with top growth. The COVID-19 has dealt a huge blow to travel and accommodations, and the Shangri-La Hotel are no exceptions. For the pandemic, our solutions are to minimize losses and survive in the midst of epidemics. The first solution is measure the funds. The finance department and the general manager of Shangri-La Hotel should prepare funds according to the profit and loss situation and the cash flow forecast. For example, at least raise the prepare enough fund for 6 months of working capital and preferably for 1 year of working capital. In the event of funding difficulties, apply for grant from shareholder or raise internal crowdfunding, external financing or loan as soon as possible. The next part is decrease the expenses. Shangri-La Hotel take measures to conserve energy such as water, electricity, and gas to minimize expenses. For example, the guests staying at the hotel are arranged on the same floor as much as possible and power off all other floors, keeping only emergency light. Besides, Shangri-La Hotel can give the employees vacation or compensatory time off. For example, according to the labor law and the actual situation of the hotel, give the employees a long vacation during this period and only pay the base salary or minimum living expenses to reduce the pressure of the hotel. The next non-financial solution is pay attention to the announcement. Shangri-La Hotel should keep a close eye on the announcement from the government and relevant regulatory authorities, such as tax authorities, insurance companies, water and electricity authorities, and so on. This will allow various buy-up policy one after another, such as credit concession, lower interest rate, tax exemption, lower energy price, commission and rent reduction, and other policy and measures. The government may also take other measures to restore production, stimulate and boost consumption, and support business survival and growth. The last solution is give benefits to the customer. Shangri-La Hotel should identify orders between now and the next 3 months and give them free processing if the customer requests cancellation and rescheduling. This will help the company pull back the customer after the pandemic is under control. It is important for the company to record the time, booking channel, information of consumer, consumption demand, time, amount, and all canceled order. This is because historical data show that about 80% of business and government events that are cancelled due to unforeseen events are generally rescheduled. That's all for our presentations. Thank you for your watching.